Bet we record. All right, we just gonna go over some trigger. We're about to go over some chart requests for an hour. I'm gonna set the clock just so I don't go overboard. I am about to take this Ripple trade on this break, like I just explained. So let me actually go put that trade in because on the weekends we trade crypto. If you ain't know, money train doesn't stop. Money don't stop. Ooh, look at it going, and it is not waiting on me to get in either. Look, look at it go. Look at it go. Anyway, let's go. Apple and ARKK, Apple and ARK. Let's pull up Apple, y'all. We're gonna pull up Apple. Let's go ahead, clear off whatever I got going on already. Pop out to the weekly. If it's a certain time frame y'all want to look at too, let me know. Because that way I'm not doing like 5 different time frames. But for the most part, I'm guessing we're just looking at going into the next week. So I'm really just gonna be looking at the weekly and the daily. Um, we're about to end the month too. So this is the last week of the month. So we can take a look at the monthly a little bit. But the first thing that popped out to me was this inside week. All right. So inside week right here. This is our outer bounds. Boom, boom. All right, we're inside that week. We finished this week inside. So what we're looking at is if we can break Apple below 148, as low as 148.37 last week. If we can take out 138.37, I'll set them for 138.35. Outside week down. If we can break below this low, then we can start looking at targeting the low of this week. Here's our next support. And then ultimately down here, but that probably won't be the move we make next week. But we could probably end up coming to see 146 if we can take out 148. All right, and then from there we can see 142 if we continue to have that crazy drop like we've been having. So that's the look on the weekly. On the daily, we see we are a little double bottom right here, double bottom bounce with hammers. All right, so last time we came and tested this level on Apple. Boom, hammer candle, bounced up after that. And then here we are again, another hammer candle. So from the daily side, we could look at that as a potential double bottom with possibly moving back up. We are making lower highs, right? So we can go ahead and draw this trend line we're seeing, connecting these down, boom, right? Then we can see that we could, if we do have a bounce week, then we could have Apple come up and test around 155, 154, right? Another way I like to look at this sometimes is I'll look and measure the moves up. So this move was a 7% move to that trend line. This move was about a 7% move again to this trend line. So then I'm just gonna look at from here again. If we get another 7% move, then that'll of course have us kind of even out right here. But what this would be about a 5% move. So it's not out the question. It looks like every time we put these lows in, we come back up about 7%. 7% is the same low. But of course, we see that we're continues to get lower. So we might go ahead and hit 155, 154 before bouncing off. This resistance right here for this day's high is 154.47. So that creates a potential resistance level here. We see it was previously support, resistance. All right. Resisted as the day high right there, resisted as the high right here. So if we can get above 150, 150, 150, then we can possibly move to about 154.50. All right. And with the volatility we've been seeing in the market, chances are we can move a lot stronger. But you don't want to get caught trying to just go hard in any one direction. All right. ARKK. All right. Bam. So reaching the demand zone. All right, why are we looking at this as the demand zone or a buy area? Boom, bounce number one. Boom, bounce number two. And then boom, here we are again coming into this area where we see the last two times we bounced up and we've ultimately bounced our way back at least to right here. We see this was a resistance again, resistance here, resistance here. Let me shrink that so y'all can see it better. So we see resistance clearly. This area is being held as a resistance or a supply area. So ARC on the daily looks good for especially if you're buying shares and swing trading shares. It looks like the risk to reward is pretty solid. I mean, ultimately, you could place your stop right below this candle. So if we're looking at it from a risk to reward ratio, if we were to get in, assuming there's no gap, but we can just go off of the close price from Friday, and we placed our stops right below this low over here, and we go ahead and target the previous resistance. So up here, we're creating a 2.5 risk to reward ratio for ourselves, targeting a 20% gain, risking about an 8% loss. All right, so very favorable risk to reward. We see we're clearly at an area that's bounced up in the past. We're definitely oversold. I don't really look at the RSI like that, but you can see our RSI is at about 34 and a half. So that's oversold on the RSI, especially as you approach the 30 level, which would be what we get if we get one more candle down here right into the zone. So regardless, if you're looking at a bullish, thinking the market might pop back bullish real quick, this might be a good opportunity, especially if you're going to get time on your contract, because you have a huge upside potential if we come back to test this resistance, and our stop loss is right here. We can swing it over to the weekly, and we pretty much see the same story, right? Heavy buying in this area, heavy buying, and then here we are again about to test this area. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set an alert right here. Let's see. So last time it came here, and that's about a 1.55 move. So I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna give it 2% wiggle room, and that's 36.41. So I'll take it 36.50. So 36.50, and that's just based off of it being in that big demand zone. I'll buy calls 1 month out, right? My stop loss will be right here, but I'm getting a month out on my calls, because again, we have all this room to the upside, and we see that buyers continuously step in once we start hitting that 35 area. All right, so not to say it's a surefire thing. The market is obviously dropping right now, but risk to reward probability, is good, because we are seeing that buyers continuously step in. So that's us looking at Apple and ARC. What's my best guess for SPY on Monday? There's no telling, bro, because we're gonna gap. But you see, we ended at a support, right? Plain as day. We see that we're at a major support level. Tick it out to the monthly, it's big support. You see it clearly on the monthly. So we see resistance, support, 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 right? So we bounced off a monthly support level. In my opinion, I think I feel like we should have a green week. I feel like it doesn't make sense to have a green week, but I feel like we should have at least a bounce next week. I'm already on SPY. Go to the 1 day, at least a bounce to close this gap real quick at 370. This is about 374. And then if we, after we touch that gap, we might go ahead and drop back down. But I think we should have a green week. That's just how it feels. It feels like that's what should happen. But, we don't go off of feelings, we go off of what actually happens. So we'll see if we gap. But regardless, I'll set an alert for a break above this high, so we can look at potentially going ahead and playing calls to fill that gap if we get no bullish movement. So the high was 370.62. So I'm gonna just go 370.65. Gap fill to 374. All right. So that's what I'm looking at. SPY. Can I go over the SDC chart? Yeah, I called out calls on Smile Direct Club. So that's one of the ones we talked about in a previous Zoom. Again, it's just looking at major demand zones. You can kick it out to the monthly. You see that buying happens once we break that dollar level. All right, so we came down. The low of this month was 98 cents. This was 99 cents. This was $1. So pretty much every time we hit about 98 cents to $1, the stocks bounced up. Take it to the weekly, you see it the same way, 98 cents, 98 cents, 98 cents, 98 cents, 99 cents, right? But it keeps bouncing up, bouncing up, bouncing up, bouncing up, bouncing up. Hit $1 last week, bounced up. Come to the daily, right? Bounce, 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 bounce. Came back over here, bounce. Right. So I think I got 2 weeks out on Smile Direct Club. I got $1 calls. But we went ahead, finished Smile Direct with a bullish engulfing candle on the daily on a day that SPY was horribly red and the rest of the market was trash. So one, I'm seeing that SPY can be down in the dumps and this stock can still go up, which happened with our Beyond calls as well. Market tanked, but we still profited on calls on Beyond. So those companies, these are a lot of companies that are highly shorted, like Apron, Party City, Smile Direct Club, Wish, Clover, GameStop, AMC, Beyond, right? So a lot of Fubo. There's a lot of those companies that might see some squeezes. Veru, we traded that as well on a short squeeze. Cassava had a little short squeeze last week as well, went up 36% in one day. So taking advantage of those opportunities for short squeezes to occur in the market. And then on the technical side, again, we see that every time we come down to about $1, we bounce. I just waited on the confirmation that we were going to have a bullish engulfing close so that I can go ahead and look at taking this up to about 110. And then if we get some crazy pops like we've seen in the past, then I'm gonna be positioned for that, right? So you see over here, we had a 12% day, 12% day, 4%, right? There's not that one, but you see 24% over here, 11%. So it has potential to pop off. And part of it being tied into the 1K account challenge is, trading with some profits, and having some of our profits go to a little more aggressive positions that can result in some pretty big gains pretty quickly. We can take advantage of that, while trying to still mitigate the risk. So I'm fine with putting up, 100, I think we put like $100 or $150 on these contracts in total. And right now we're at $300 of profit on the account. We're not gonna let it go to zero, but it's big room. If we can, especially if we can shoot over that and head up to this level, we have huge profit potential on this trade. So we'll see what we get. Amazon. Let's keep it rolling. I'm gonna scroll down real quick. All right, let's pull it back up. All right, Amazon. Ooh, I could tell I've been trading some Amazon. Let's get all that off our screen. Start clean. Excuse me. So let's kick it out to the weekly. Let's see. Figure it out to the monthly real quick. Amazon monthly look bad. Like it's about to come down here. That's about all I can say about Amazon. So Amazon looks like it's about to keep heading down on the monthly. We kick to the weekly. Same story on the weekly. And you see it did, and it's probably the same, same support that SPY was at, where you do see that we ended up holding up right here. So that's a little double bottom on the weekly, but overall, Amazon looks very bearish. It looks like it needs to go ahead and head down to this 105 level before it can potentially, do anything else. On the daily, Daily is telling kind of the same story. On a daily, we did break this, and we ended up resting right here with this. That's not even a hammer candle, really. Um, we still have a gap below as well. So, gaps, not all gaps get filled, but gaps do tend to get filled. So that could be something that we potentially see coming to next week, is that we go ahead and fill that gap at 110.63. And that'll be, let's see, from our current price, that'll be about a 2.8% move down. And then if we continue down, then we can see 105. So it looks like soon, Amazon looks like pretty soon they'll be at 105. And that might be a decent time to add into some shares, just from the chart standpoint. All right, not looking at the overall macroeconomics and where we're headed as an economy, but just technically speaking, coming down to test 105 for Amazon would be a pretty significant level. We see 100, and we know we had the stock split, but 100 was previous heavy support, right? I mean, resistance here, resistance, right? Now it's support. So 105 to 100 could be a great time to add into some positions, add into some leaps from a technical standpoint. And then if we break that 100, we see here we hit 101.40, 101.26. So pretty much if we break 100, especially if we can get a close below 100 on a daily even, it's probably going to keep dropping. At that point, you can just scrap it because it's probably going to keep going low. Cool. Let me know if this is helpful. Ones in the chats if I'm going to one. Give me a 2 if I'm going too fast. If it's good, just drop a 1. If it's good, if you're understanding, if it's helpful, if you maybe feel like you're getting a little bit better with marking your own charts, give me a 2 if I'm going too fast. This is like second nature. I woke up this morning like ready to run a Zoom. I wanted to run this like in the morning. Let's see. Mike said, I genuinely just want to see the charts on some of the trades you took for the 1K account. Yeah. So I showed SDC. We can look at, let me pull up my log. My trade log. I think we've covered a lot of these on previous Zooms. Beyond, I think we covered Beyond as well. So we had Beyond calls that we swung. I think we got in them. I think we got in them on this day. On the 22nd, swung calls. All right, same thing like I showed with SDC. Didn't finish with the bullish engulfing candle, finished with the inside bar. But besides being crazy oversold, and it's probably majorly oversold on all time frames, right? RSI is giving us a 22. But RSI is starting to curl up right now, but we got a 22.6 on the RSI on the daily. On the weekly, we got a 29.4. And on the monthly, we got a 33. So it's pretty oversold across all of those time frames. The hourly, we see we're starting to come back up. But what caught my eye about Beyond and while I was swinging it is out of all of this red that we've been getting, all this red, we're starting to see some basing here, right? Which we also saw here, right? As where it's starting to kind of base out, took some calls right here, you would have made some money. All right, we see it starting to base out again. So hopefully, we can come and press up to this $17 or $18 level. My first target was $16, which we came real close to last week. So we can get above that $16, we can go ahead and push up towards 18. And that's going to give us about a 10% move, which would be great. So that's what I'm looking at on Beyond. I think right now I got 2 week out contracts on that as well. I don't plan on holding them for 2 weeks. Really, if we can't get this move next week, I'm gonna cut it, keep it moving. And then I think we covered most of them. A lot of them were just inside bar breaks on a daily, like QCOM. We took QCOM calls. this RSI out of here. Get these off the chart. So we took two QCOM calls, right? Inside bar on QCOM right here. Set our levels based on the high and low. We broke above here for our trigger. First stop was 128. Next stop was 129.90. We hit both targets. I got out at the first target, a little bit after the first target, but that was another trade we took for the 1K challenge. So that was some of the trades. We're gonna keep it rolling, man. Tesla, right? Look at Tesla, big gap down on Tesla. We got gap to fill as well, just like SPY. Sitting at what could be a potential buy zone right now. I really feel like getting all this off here too. All right. So we see we got the bounce here, bounce over here. Clearly resistance right here. I mean, of course, you have like more resistance and support, supply demand within this. But just looking at the overall side of things, that's what I'm looking at. I don't think, well, you could. So you see that. So we see Tesla also has bounced off this 270, 272 level a couple of times. Bounced Friday, bounced on the 7th, right? Held up here and closed here, or opened here, sorry, open level, bounced here and bounced here. So it's a big bounce level. Tesla, it's not really catching my eye too much unless we can get below 272, below 271. So maybe below 271.50 or so. And we could take it down to about 265, 267. What's this low? 269. I get myself 3 levels. So I'll be targeting first below this candle if we can break below here. But ultimately, I still want to look at where we can go further. And if we're going to keep moving, I'm going to go ahead and hold out. So Tesla, I'm not really seeing anything that I like too much on it. Of course, all of this that we're looking at right now, if we get a gap up or a gap down, it goes out the window. But it's still good to look at it overall. You can go to the weekly. Weekly look just like the daily. Weekly bearish and engulfing. The body isn't ending up here, but it still moved up and then fully covered that candle as well. So bearish engulfing on the weekly, which we can look at, we break this low of the weekly and we can go ahead and move down to 265 like we just looked at. This low is 272. So having alert set at 271, it's like an extra dollar off. But then we can go ahead and see a move down to 266. And that'll be puts for Tesla. About a $9 move, or that's $11. Sorry. Where is my math at, bro? That's $7. All right, clearly I'm tripping. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at for Tesla on the weekly. So it is a good put setup. We're gonna keep it rolling. We did SPY already. Let's go MRO. Bam, MRO. All right. Ooh, that's nasty. I don't like that line. I think that's a little more appropriate. All right. So MRO, I guess the main thing I'm looking at with it is we were kind of holding this trend line as support, broke out of it, came back in it, broke out of it, came back, had a little pull back to potentially retest. And then we went ahead, took out that low. All right, so these three bars are holding up as support at 25. All right, we can zoom in, kind of see that a little more clear. So you see that, we broke below that, got down. So it's kind of floating here right now, right? So not really too much of an indication of what's going on. I don't know what news came out or what happened to cause it to kind of do that. We could look at other oil companies that did the exact same thing. Oop, nothing, Chevron, boom. All right. Um, so this is kind of interesting. I mean, you could really just take a high or a low break and carry it momentum wise, see where it goes. Um, sorry. Stop. So on the weekly, hey, that looks a lot better from my trend line. And then blam. Yeah, so on the weekly, downside room, yeah, you got about $1 on a good day. That's rough. So odds are, again, I don't know the news that affected this, um, but this is a big range for this candle, right? For this stock, because this is about 18%. So it wouldn't be unlikely that it just kind of ranges within this candle. It's not unlikely, but we do see over here that it will, have these big drops and continue down. It looks like if you just take a break of the low, you can still grab a decent amount to the downside, right? You could take 7% right here. So you could look at taking a break of this low, and you could carry that down and retest down here, which would be about a 9% move. So we'll set an alert for that. Low is 2162. We'll go 2160. Bam. Cool. All right. Apple, we did that. SPX, we did SPY, Apple, Amazon, SDC, we did that. Apple, we did that. Ripple, we did that. Ripple, we did that. SDC, we did that. All right. USO. Ooh, I had the head and shoulders charted on USO, and it looked like it. Mm, 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 mm. I wanted to take that trade. Yeah, I don't know if y'all remember them Zim puts I called out too. That expired in October. Oh yeah, we'd be up crazy on that. I already know. But let's go back to USO. So USO, I pulled up that Zim chart to show you kind of how I see USO playing out. So we had a head and shoulders. Here's my neckline. All right, you see the same sort of deal with Zim, right? Head and shoulders. All right, go back to USO. So when you're looking at head and shoulder patterns, your profit target based on the technicals is going to be the neckline to the head. So it's 21, about 2150. Your profit target, once you break and take out the neckline, is going to be the same to the downside. So that'll put our target right about here. And you see that that's in line with the support level. So there you go. I'll just mark this off. Oh, thought I was tired. So that'll be our first stop, or it could be like TP1. Um, but that's what I see happening for USO. Again, this is oil, so stuff could happen. It was some stuff with Russia. That's what it was. But overall, head and shoulders clean, break of the neckline. It tried to hold it as long as it could. Support bounce, support bounce. But ultimately, it didn't hold. It closed below it here. It gap down, pushed back up, and then rejected. So that was good to swing puts on. That was good to swing puts on. I don't even really care to look at the daily too much, because I'll probably get some time on it. But I'll just set an alert for a new low. 64, 65 was that low. 64, 64. Let's do it. For that low break, but we can see that we could continue down. So That's what I'm looking at on USO. I would probably get some time on this. Um, but you see it has potential to make a pretty nice size move. That's 11% there, 10%, that's 25%. And that's if it all completely plays out. So that's what I'm looking at for USO. All right. Let me scroll back to the bottom. We did beyond the Shauna. MRO, AMD, video, makes sense. I understand. Goodness. Boom, boom, boom. How do I do the percentage? That is this tool right here. It's a little measuring stick, a little ruler, right? Just move it around. Other way is using one of these tools to actually do like predictions and measurements. So if we're going short, come here, our target's right here. Stop loss can be right here. All right, and that way you can see the percentage, the dollar amount, percentage and dollar amount, risk to reward ratio. Same thing, right? Cool. What do I mean by crossing? If I was saying something about something crossing a certain point, that just means I'm looking at price breaking a certain level. To let me know that we are moving in that direction. So a lot of times I'll look for triggers of new lows being made, new highs being made, to see what way the price is going. It's always safest to wait for a close, depending on how you're trading it. Waiting on the close might cause you to miss the move as well. All right. Somebody said they're short term bullish. Am I reading from a different chat? No. I was at the top, bro. You just sent your chart request. He's probably maybe if you join late. So I just got DM said, am I reading from a different chat? If you join later, you probably don't even see all of the stuff that was said before you join. Yep. Bum, bum, bum. If charting on a weekly, is that for a swing? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So charting on a weekly, if I'm looking at the weekly, usually I'm looking at, swinging something for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month. And it's worth the payout because again, like Zim, we bought Zim puts about a month ago, right? So we got Zim puts probably like back over here. We got Zim. Yep, I remember because I said, yep, we bought them on this day right here. We bought Zim puts right here. I said, I'm gonna wait till it has a green bar, one green day. I'm gonna buy puts the next day. So we got puts here. And you see, since the put entry, it's dropped 22% since the put signal. All right. So yeah, definitely swings and just, you gotta let the swing swing. A lot of people get so caught up in fast money, fast gains. But like think about it. If I could have told you that you was gonna let that thing drop 22%, you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm a hold. So just let stuff play out. Short-term bullish as well. It's bet Raj. We did Tesla. If you had a request that you're not seeing me do, it's because you joined after I already did it. But you can watch the recording, which will be up tonight, and you'll be able to see it forward. You can do that. Can I explain the time frames and why you should switch? Time frames help you get perspective, right? Your weekly time frame lets you see what's going on from the weekly basis, daily to daily, but you also miss some things based on what you're looking at. So on a 1 hour chart or if you're looking at a 5 minute chart, you'll only see really like scalping opportunities or day trading opportunities for the most part. If you look at the daily and the weekly, then now you're opening yourself up to opportunities for swings, right? Whether they're short-term swings or whether they're weekly swings. So switching between time frames, just making sure that you can see different opportunities that might be available to you so you can take advantage of whatever is there, right? What else we got? Meta, got you. Luther, NVIDIA, AMD. QQQ. All right, make a list. Q, video. All right, cool. Yeah. All right, let's roll. How I feel about the 30-minute? I use it. I use every time frame, bro. I use every time frame, depending on what I'm trying to do. So I take trades off 30-minute. I take trades off the 1 minute. I take trades off the 3-minute. Um, it's whatever. It's wherever the setup is, you know. So if it's a clear bull flag setup on a 30, but like on the daily, it's not bull flagging, but I can trade the bull flag on the 30. I'll trade the bull flag on the 30. If it's a head and shoulders on the 5, I'll trade the head and shoulders on the 5. I don't care with me. You know, if it's there, it's there. You know, but you want to make sure that you keep in mind the smaller or shorter the time frame, you know, the less move you'll get, and the more likely that move is to just be noise. You know, you're getting a lot more candles that are printing, and so the stuff is just a lot more sporadic on smaller time frames. Forward, huge move down out of this big bull flag, but you can see a lot easier on the weekly. Wow, right? Barring, you know, this candle. So it's the same thing as MRO. Huge moves. You might not see the same, but we ended up coming and holding this support right here. All right, support. All right, so if we can take out that support, then it's a chance we can go ahead and move down to this next low level, which is 1114. So if we can drop below here, 1114, that's about a $6 move. I mean, 6% move. So that's what I'll be looking at on forward. Really is that just breaking this low over here, which was 1190, and then looking at taking it down to 1114, but still giving it, you know, my contracts a week or two, or really 2 or 3. But you know, ultimately, I'll probably close it within a week. Let's see. All right, so we got clear resistance here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, 5. Support. All right, so clear level here. They ended up being resistance for that day. Supported this day right here. So if we take out this, then of course we can go ahead and look to fill the gap. Let's see, is that gap moving up? Man, you get 3%, 2.5%. So you can look at it again going up here, and that's what I'm thinking. Like I said in the beginning, I'm thinking with next week, SPY goes up and fills that gap around 370, and that might be the gap we get, you know, Monday to just kick off the market, and then we might go ahead and continue dumping. It feels like we should have a green week, even though it might be like a real small green week, or one of those weeks where we push up $10 and then we drop $10 and finish the week kind of like break even or even by like $1 or something. It's just a bunch of fake moves, you know, a bunch of big volatility, a bunch of fake moves, no moves really holding. So that's what I'm looking at for forward. We can hit QQQ, NVIDIA, Meta, QQQ, AMD, NVIDIA, Meta. Oh, I got you. Let's go QQQ. QQQ, trend line break, pull back, retest, shot up back above, pull back again, broke through, bam, 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 right? So QQQ is very close to testing that support there. It did end up breaking the support. Boom. QQQ. No, it's real when you got to switch to the weekly to see next level. So this is our next level for Qs. It's not really that far away. If we take out that low again, the low is 272. You know, this level is about 268 or so. So it's about $4. Keep in mind the IV on your contracts. Make sure you're looking, even if you don't understand Greeks that well, look at the break-even prices on your contracts and understand that those prices symbolize what the stock needs to be to break even on the trade at expiration of that contract. And just know that these moves, if volatility starts to leave the market, then essentially you're going to be overpaying for your contracts. Right? When IV is high, contracts are going to cost more. So when volatility starts to leave, then the contracts are going to decrease due to the loss of volatility, and you're going to get caught, losing money because of the volatility leaving the contracts. Think about IV crush with earnings, how earnings can happen and a stock can go up on earnings, but still the contracts still lose value, right? Is that implied volatility flooded out. So keep that in mind. Q's 268 possibly. They're not really looking, it really ain't nothing too much I'm seeing for me. And that's the other thing that I say as well, you can take away is don't force yourself to try to see something. Not to say there is nothing to see here, but just for me, I don't see anything that's super appealing to me about the Qs right now. So I'm gonna leave it. That's just me. So I'm not gonna try to force myself to say I'm gonna take the break of this high on this hammer candle, and it perfectly bounced off 272. High break goes to the gap fill. Because the high is 277.85. The gap fill is 280. So it's like I'm literally trying to grab like $2 on this stock that's $200. And given how much the contracts cost, it just might not be worth it when it's still a risky and volatile market. There's probably some other setups that can really move. Or if they do fill their gaps have more room to get filled. So just looking at a better risk to reward overall. Meta. I'm gonna need some water after this. Meta. The 150, what was it? What puts did we get? 150 puts back up here. So y'all be thinking I'm crazy, man. Every time I grab a swing, it's like 2 months out. Folks be thinking I'm crazy. Till they look at that chart a month later and be like, damn. I know Jordan is up. I closed because I'm not used to holding contracts for more than 2 days. And that's no shade or nothing. That's just like the reality again that a lot of people gotta really learn to let they swing and let their stuff play out. But of course, with the call outs in the group, you got to try to also protect people's money and emotions. So daily on Meta, we see we've already broken through these levels. Boom. All right, support, turn, resistance. Came on down. Boom. So Meta on a daily looks like we're in a little bit of no man's land. Let's go to the weekly. Jeez, bro. Let's go to the monthly. So this is great. That's why I got them puts. So yeah, Meta, we need to go ahead and take out 137. Once we take out 137, we'll be making a new monthly low. All right. So we take out 137. That'll be the lowest that Meta has been since February, since 2019, basically. So basically that'll be the lowest it's been in about 3 years, is down there. All right. So we can go ahead and break that level. We can go ahead and see Meta come down to 128. And that'll be the next move. Another swing. Keep in mind, again, stuff is really oversold right now. So as we have a deeper and deeper sell-off, the odds of us bouncing increase. The odds of you making money off of puts will start to decrease because the odds of us bouncing increase, right? We're not going to sell off forever. People are going to step in, buy up these discounts, buy up these deals, put more money into the market. Think about funds, selling here, even if they sold, further up here. Now that stuff is sold off, they're like, well, damn, now I can get, all my shareholders, all these people who are invested into these funds can get these stocks at discounts, right? So as we're looking at Meta, let's go to AMD. That's what we just broke on AMD. So our next monthly level would be 5160. All right. So about 51, 52. No monthly support until then. What we can do is look at the 50% retracement of this monthly candle, and we could see that offer some sort of bam, some sort of protection right there. So this could be a potential stop that we get, which is will make a little bit of sense. Let's go to the weekly. Bam. Let's go to the daily. Just more of the same. Doji on the daily. All right. So doji is a candle that might indicate reversal. Right. So we could look at, if we can get a green bar. Again, this just goes into again my thinking that we might be able to be bullish next week. But we could see a candle coming like this, right? That would be your what pattern? Someone put in the chat, candlestick pattern. I'm not gonna tell y'all the names. Look up morning stars, look up evening stars. That's a hint. All right, learn your patterns. So that'll create a bullish reversal pattern. If we can get this, especially if we can break this high, we can see maybe a little more move up. So it could be worth the day trade or potential swing for the week if we could take out a 69.10. I set that as an alert. Well, I hope we don't gap up or gap down like crazy. And I just marked all this stuff. All right, let's looking at AMD. We had to look at NVIDIA and Boeing. AMD and NVIDIA are pretty much moving the same, so I'll come back to NVIDIA. Boeing right now sitting at this support, boom, support, 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 support. Right, it was previously resistance, 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 resistance. Right, resistance. So sitting at support right now, not much to do with it. If it takes out the low, then we can go ahead and see it come down to 123. Boeing is usually one of the companies that performs the worst when we're in a recession. So keep that in mind as well. But we can see 123 if we can take out 129.50. So I'll set an alert for 129.45. Check the chat. Morningstar. There you go. This is the biggest watch list in the history of the market. Yeah, hour-long watch list, man. I'm putting this on you. This is gonna be my watch list for the week for YouTube. Normally I cover like 3 stocks. This is the watch list right here. But yeah, that was a Morningstar pattern, right? Morningstar bullish candlestick reversal. Look at that. I think I'm caught up. Let me do the video and then I'm good. The video finished green. It's always nice to see stocks finish green on the day that the market's been horrible. Because it gives you some hope. So I think if I'm not mistaken, the video is hitting 52-week lows, which, yep, not mistaken. The video got a gap on the monthly chart, bro. All right, that's wild. I gotta go look at this. I gotta go look at this. Down. So that's probably what this was. That's crazy. I can't remember the last time I seen a gap on a monthly chart. But yeah, so on the video gap right now it's testing this low right here. I mean, shoot, that gap alone makes me just want to. I can't remember the last time I've seen a gap like that on a chart. On the monthly, bro. I don't even know like what stock I could think could have that. And that's a huge company. That's not like some random company that just moves, you know, all weird and stuff. Like J and J is green on the month. All right. I'm just running through stocks in my head trying to find other gaps. Okay. So Nvidia, huge gap on the monthly, um, sitting around 149.50. You have a 150. So that's interesting. It's a $25 move. They do have earnings coming up. See how it moved last times on earnings. Earnings next day, 4% move, $6. Earnings, they do earnings after hours, yep. So earnings next day, 8%, $8. Earnings next day dropped $20. Okay. Yeah, I mean that could be something to help it. So this is where I would think, right? If I'm thinking the market is going to recover and I'm thinking that I want to go long something, seeing that there's that huge crazy gap on the video, on the monthly chart, bro, I know that's something that I would look at going long just because I know it's a great company too. Boom. I knew I could find a chart with a big gap on the monthly. Yeah, there's another gap on Intel's monthly. There's another gap on Intel's monthly. There's another gap on Intel. Intel has just been getting beat up all year. But yeah, y'all. So I think we've covered everything. Wow. Cool. That's your chart request Zoom. If y'all got any questions, put them in the Discord. Let me see where we're at on time. We got 9 minutes left. Oh no, I didn't finish the video. I'm sorry. Well, I tell you, you do chart requests for an hour, you would be. Well, I'm about wore out. All right, I just said monthly gap and kept it pushing. Oh yeah, so yeah, another one. Anticipating that morning star. Anticipating the morning star. Again, you know, not saying we're gonna get it, but just anticipating, right? And then we can see that push up. So again, key point is that NVIDIA did finish green when the market was overall red, right? Qs was red, SPY's red. So NVIDIA is showing some strength in the down market as far as that day. Potential morning star, that should take us up 30 alone. So I'm still looking at NVIDIA 126.11, boom. Send alert 126.15. NVIDIA calls to 130. Boom. All right. Cool. Take profits there. Why not? So that'll be us breaking through this low as well as breaking through this high is what I'll be looking at. This low, I mean, this low is 126.17. This is 126.11. So I want to break that low as well, so we don't treat it as a resistance, or at least not a solid resistance. All right. Do I have time to explain the 30-minute inside bar breakout? Yeah, bro, it's really quite easy. Inside bars, there are different ways you can trade inside bars. Two of the main ways I trade them is I'll trade them inside the mother bar or the outside bar. Let me see if I can find something and just point them out to me. All right, cool. Here we go. So the easiest way I trade them is you can trade them inside of the bar, right? And that's a 2-1-2 strat. So we're looking at is right? You have your level, so you can trade the breakout and the inside. So once you have this bar closed, right? 1 second. All right. So first thing is you can take the break of the inside bar. So whether it's the high or the low, and take it up to the high or low of the previous candle. So what that would look like is once we print this candle, we see it's an inside candle. We're looking at taking, I mean, there's really nothing to take this low to besides right here. But you could take the break of the high up to this candle. All right. And so you end up getting that on the next candle. So your entry would have been right above this high. Your profit target would have been right here. All right. Now, the other way I look at them is I'll take the inside bar and I'll take the actual breakout of the outside bar. So usually this strategy, trading it inside of the outside bar is usually lower money to be made because I mean it's a tighter pattern. You know, there's less room, uh, but it still works. You know, and then a stop loss would be below the inside bar. Um, so it still works. You can still make money with it, but you usually want to find like a range. Like you want your bar to be big enough for it to make sense. What I've been testing with the outside is once you get a break, um, is using the size of the previous candle as a target for the breakout, right? So that would look like taking the size of this candle, which is about 190, taking that 190, flipping it on its head and being like, I'm targeting 190, which would be right here, right? And so that would be the target I'm shooting for. Um, yeah, and that did not get hit. That was the next day gap down. But you started pushing up towards it. So you would have came real close, but you wouldn't have hit it. So I'm still fooling around with how I want to perfect or kind of scale in. That strategy itself is a lot more risky. Um, I think there was one other way. The other way I was looking at it was taking the break of the inside, um, and flipping the length from the height of the inside to the height. So that would give us that, right? Inside high to the outside high. So that's 72 cents. Flipping that on its head and taking profits for the break at 72, right? And that's how you would do that. So, I mean, of course, that one did hit. You left some profits on the table, but that one did hit. But the profit target was smaller. So it just works better depending on how much room you have for profit on the stock. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you, Donna. For sure, Raj. Let's look at bum, 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 bum. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Donna said NVIDIA 135 call to the 21st of October. Those are October monthly contracts. We're gonna also look at the put open interest as well. We don't want to just look one way, but we want to make sure that calls heavy. So I see what Donna's talking about right here. All right, super high open interest on those. Looks like that's a straddle probably, Donna. So yeah, we got 40,000 open interest on the 135 calls. We also got about 40,000 open interest on the puts. So it's possibly just a huge straddle position, or some sort of spread might be mixed up in there. But that's something I wouldn't hold as much weight to, seeing the same amount of open interest on the put side and the cause side. Still gives you a good idea of a strike to get, because I mean, a straddle implies that it'll go one way or the other. But that's something to look at as well. Just make sure you're always checking the puts and the calls, not just the whatever direction you're looking at. All right. That's the class. That's the Zoom. Yep. Can't be biased, bro. I was like that too at first. Can't be biased, especially when you're looking at open interest and stuff, because you can't tell if it was bought to open, sold to open, but you can see, what's held on the other side. You can't see how it was open, like what type of spread it might have been. But that looks very straddle-ish. I mean, it's the same strike, same expiration, same amount of contracts, you know, very, very straddle-ish. So when we have earnings, yeah, earnings is on that's in November, so we straight. But that's not a bad look. How much does that cost? 400. I mean, if I take it on a 1K account, that'll use up a bunch of our money. But I like it. I like the idea of it. I definitely do. But that's it though. So if y'all got any more questions, y'all can pop them in the Discord. Y'all have a good night. I'm gonna get the recording up tonight. It'll be on YouTube. If you're not already following me on YouTube, then I don't know what you're doing with your life. Or subscribe to me on YouTube. But of course, you'll see it in the recorded classes section. And then my channel, I'll probably put on my channel as well. So as always, glad to have y'all. See y'all next time. Gracias de nada. Thanks. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trying to get better. I don't know what you're doing. Exactly, bro. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube, what you doing? What you doing? You playing. You playing. But you in the Discord, so I mean, you clearly know what you're doing, I guess. All right, y'all. We out this thing. Have a good one, Raj.